guys? Welcome back to another tier list. I know it's been forever. It feels like every time I do a tier list since the last one, it's been like at least 5 or 6 months, but in reality, it's only been like 2 months. Going to be the official console tier list for the Paladins Trickshot update. So if you guys always like these tier lists, and if you are new and this is your first time finding my channel, if you're new, please subscribe. It really would help me out. We're really close to 700 subscribers. It really help me out if you just subscribe down below. Let's see if we can get this video to 25 likes within the first 2 days of this video being up. If you guys can hit that like goal, I will bring you guys another tier list for the next patch. You guys like these videos, we're going to break it down. We're just going to sit and talk about it all. Like, you guys like me just breaking everything down and talking about everything in depth. So that's what I'm going to bring you guys. If you guys don't like the 50-minute, 1-hour tier list videos, I will be doing probably timestamps for this video if I forget, and I do not have timestamps in the description. Let me know down below, and or just do your own. I will pin your comment if somebody wants to do timestamps if I did not put them in the description down below. Now, this is going to be for the Trickshot patch, so depending on when you see this, it may be different. It may be some stuff may have changed, or maybe the same. I don't know. Can't tell what the future holds. There's probably going to be different champions in the game, that's for sure. Probably different maps as well sometime soon. But it's going to be an in-depth console tier list. I'm a console player. I play on the Switch. I have almost like 5,000 hours in the game now. I think I'm like 20 hours away or something crazy from having 5,000 hours in the game. I play on the Switch. If you guys want to see me live, I do live stream Paladins. I stream ranked. I stream viewer games. You guys can play with me on stream. I stream usually 4 or 5 times a week, usually Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays, and then sometimes Tuesdays. So if you guys want to stop by for some Paladins, Smite, Apex Legends, I play a lot of stuff on the channel. If that interests you guys as well, feel free to subscribe down below so you guys stay tuned to the channel. Especially if you're new, I would like to really interact with you people that are actually new and have you guys join in on the fun, especially on the live streams. But you guys can watch me play the game on stream. Pretty much the major stuff with this patch, I'm gonna do it all in one video. There's not really enough balance changes to, like, mid-season where I did 4 videos. If you guys missed my tier list videos for the mid-season, I will link a playlist for all 4 videos at the end of this video if you guys want to go check those out. I did one for each role in the game for the mid-season patch because there was so much balance. But we're going to get right into this. SS is going to be your broken stuff. This is the stuff you're going to be banning or picking in the majority of your games. S tier is going to be stuff you're going to be prioritizing in almost all your games. A plus is your above average. A is average. B is below average. C is your very situational stuff. D is your stuff that you're going to pick in one certain specific situation. Otherwise, they're garbage. And then you got F tier, which is Moji tier. So, I'm gonna be talking about all ranks in this video. I'm gonna be talking about your mid tiers. I'm gonna be talking about your high tiers. Sometime a little bit about your low tiers. This is gonna be your general tier list for your mid tier. Pretty much all ranks. I'm mainly your mid tier ranks, but I will be talking about all types of ranks and taking that into consideration with this list as well. 100% opinionated. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Leave me a comment down below what you guys think. This really helps out the video, really helps out the channel, and I love interacting with you guys, and I do respond to the majority of the comments. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Ray got added this patch, 2 ranked as well, which is one of the huge updates for this rank split. She's actually now playable and ranked. Newest support champion of the game. I'm going to be talking about Saati. We're going to start this out with Saati. I'm going to be talking about her a little bit just to start this off, and then we're going to get right into it. She's not in ranked right now. She is not in ranked, but she's the newest damage champion to the game. I love Saati, I really do. The only thing I don't like about Saati is I think that she only has one viable talent. She has one viable talent, and the rest of her talents are bad. Heads or tails is garbage, and then her whatever one that buffs like her cardboard cutout or whatever reduces the cooldown on her cardboard cutout down to 3 pips. It's garbage and makes it explode for 500 damage. Garbage. The only talent that she has that is viable is her dropkick talent, which is, I think, the window of opportunity. I think that's what it's called. Apart from that, she's bad. Like, I wouldn't say she's bad, but, like, her talents are bad. My only gripe is she has a useless ability, and she has 2 useless talents. She has 1 viable talent that you're going to pick every single game, and she has no other playstyle apart from Window of Opportunity, because the rest of her talents are just so goddamn bad. That's one thing she needs to have looked at for her next patch. Look at her talents, either entirely rework the talents they screwed up on, or majorly buff her other talents. And then, like, another thing about her, like, I think right now, like, her cardboard cutout is pretty much useless. It is one of the worst abilities in the game. That's my only complaint with her, like, elsewhere. Like, otherwise, apart from that, she's great. I really like her. I think she's a really good addition to the game. She gives us some stuff we don't have. We have a ricochet with a coin that you can bounce stuff off. We don't have anything like that in the game currently. We have wall bang, which is pretty much a projectile line type ability that can go through walls. It travels pretty slow, but we don't have anything like that in the game currently apart from like a Genos, but that's way different. That's a stationary, like, one hit, one shot type blast. So she does bring a lot of cool elements to the game, and I do think she has a lot of space in the game where she can do really well. There's a lot of stuff she does pair really well with. She can do well against. If I were to put her in ranked right now, I'd probably put her like an A+ tier. I think she would be a really good A+ tier. Just throwing her into ranked, like on console, being that this is a console tier list, she is pretty easy to play. There was a lot of questionability whether it's easy to like hit her coin so you can ricochet damage off the coin and get your all charge or whatever you want to do with your coin. It is pretty easy to hit. I talked about it a couple days ago on stream when we first were playing her a couple days ago on patch day. Her coin is pretty easy to hit. Unless you have really bad aim, you're going to be able to hit her coin really easy in the air. You don't really need to even hit it on like fully exactly. You can kind of shoot beside it as it's floating through the air, and it'll still stick into the air, and you can use it as a damage thing or just to gain all charge off of, or whatever you want to do. So, like I said, only gripe with her is her cardboard cutout is useless. The only thing it's really for is just to get your 2 seconds of invisibility. That's the only thing it's really for, and if that was the case, why even give us a useless cardboard cutout? It's garbage. The damage sucks. It's not an auto-lock type thing like Barik's turret, or like a Ying clone when it's healing an ally. You set it down and it shoots straight ahead. So if you set it on uneven ground, it'll shoot right at a wall the entire time and do nothing. So it's garbage. Like, I think that's the one thing they need to change. Make her cardboard cutout have auto-lock damage. It barely does any damage to begin with. Why don't you just have it auto-lock onto people? Like, have it face straight, but like auto-lock within like a certain cone. Give it like a cone radius where if there's somebody in front of it, like in a certain cone type shape, then it will actually auto-lock onto them and do damage. It doesn't have to be a full 180 like a Barik turret or something like that, where it can lock onto anybody that's close to it. Like, at least that would be better. Like, I just feel like right now it's just a useless ability. The only thing it does is just give you your stealth, and it costs way too many pips from her cooldown or whatever. Like, her cooldown's pips. It costs way too many of those to throw it down, and just doesn't do anything. It's only to really get your stealth, and people are never going to shoot at it. People are never going to stand in front of it. It's not worth running loadout cards into. That's my only gripe with her. 2 bad talents, and then she only has 1 good talent, which is Window of Opportunity, and then probably one of the worst abilities in the game out of any champion, apart from probably like entirety of Moji. I don't know. That's my only gripe with her. Otherwise, I love Saati. I think she's really cool. She might actually be one of my favorite DPS in the game. Like, I've been playing her so much lately, and I've just been enjoying her so goddamn much. I really have. Her base weapon is so good. That's the best thing about her, is her base weapon. Her deagle, or whatever you call it, 825 headshots at close to medium range. She's pretty much an Androxus that's a DPS. Like, if Androxus was a DPS character, that's what Saati really is. She's the DPS version of an Androxus. That's kind of what she is, with like Cursed Revolver or whatever. I don't know. I'll be doing an entire guide video for Saati in the near future. So if that interests you, please subscribe so you do not miss that video. I will be talking about her more in depth. And right now, she's been out for 2 days, and I'm already level 30 with her. So that just goes to show you how much I've been playing her. I love her. She's really cool, but that's my only gripes with her. Apart from that, let's hop right into this. We got Androxus. Androxus got some useless nerfs this patch. I still think he's really good. Still think he's really good. He's even bannable in certain cases. There's maps where you're going to want to ban him sometimes. He has maps where you're probably going to want to probably ban him on stuff like Timber Mill. Serpent Beach is a great map for him. Like, there's certain maps he does really well on that you might actually justify banning him. I don't think he's broken tier. I really don't. I don't think he's worth a ban every single game over some other champions right now. But I think he's really good. It comes down to if you can land headshots and you have pinpoint accuracy. If your accuracy is like potato aim, you aren't going to do anything. Defiant Fist is garbage. Godslayer is garbage. The only one you run and the only talent you're going to run with him is not Godslayer, is Cursed Revolver. He got nerfed this patch. Like, his units on his Defiant Fist, or his Defiance, got, I think, nerfed by 5 or 10 units, I think it was. And then they reworked one of his cards. They nerfed the shit out of one of his cards that would actually give you ammo on just activating your reversal. I think they reworked it or got nerfed. So overall, still really good. He's still in a great spot. If you can play Androxus, you can single-handedly just carry games. Next, we got Ashe. Has not really changed. Ashe has not really changed. I don't think she's changed really much at all. She is just your typical off tank. You can play her as a point tank. I mean, she ain't bad as a point tank. Like, my problem with her right now is I feel like she just doesn't do enough damage for a tank. There's so many other tanks in the game that just do insane amounts of damage. Atlas does a shit ton of damage. Raum has constant damage. Terminus is doing 600 damage per swing of his axe. You have Khan that's doing shit ton of damage. Like, there's a bunch of other tanks in the game that just do way more damage than her. I think she needs some type of minor little buff this next patch. I really do. Because nothing's really changed with her over the span of, like, this last patch and this current patch, the mid-season and this Trickshot patch. Is your typical off-tank. She can play a really good off-tank. She has some good maps. She's great on Fish Market. She's great on stuff like Frog Isle. There's a few other maps too. Ascension Peak, she ain't too bad on. Like, there's some maps she is better than others over like those type of maps, but overall just your average off tank, and you can play her as like a solo point tank, but there's just so many better options right now. I'm gonna put her at an A tier. So not really much with her has changed. I think if they want to give her a minor buff, like, give her a little bit more damage. Buff her 400 damage up to 425. I think that would be a cool little minor buff they can give her and then see where she is at that point. Because I feel like she's just kind of lacking damage right now. Especially being an AoE and you're not landing the majority of your damage as like a full 400 most of the time anyways. You're kind of just getting chip damage most of the time since it's kind of an AoE up to a certain range. So that's kind of what I would do with her at that point. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below with Ashe. Next we got Atlas. Atlas, if you guys don't know, and if you guys did not read the patch notes, Atlas got reverted this patch in the PTS, and then he went to the live patch, and they reverted all the buffs they gave him. So it was 65% increased cooldown on Temporal Divide. They nerfed it, or actually buffed it down to 55, and then when it went to the live patch, they reverted the buff back up to 65%, and then his talent, which I think was Unstable Fissure, they gave it an extra 5 units from 20 up to 25, and then when it came to the live patch, which you're currently on, they took that away as well. So pretty much from last patch to this patch, they made some changes to him in the PTS, and then they reverted all the changes they made to him from the PTS to the live patch. So he's pretty much unchanged from last patch. So I'm still going to put him at an S tier. I think he's one of the best off tanks in the game still. But if you play him as a point tank, you're going to lose your match. You only play Atlas as an off tank. He's one of the best off tanks in the game right now. Just like single-handed. Like, there's a couple other ones that are really good. Khan's really good. There's a few other ones that you can play that are really solid. I think right now, if you want an off tank, you're really definitely looking at Atlas. Next, we got Barik. Going right up to S tier. You guys kind of see a theme with a lot of the tanks from last patch. I'm telling you guys right now, not much has really changed from last patch. Tanks are still really good. Barik has not even really changed much. I think even with the items being introduced for like, I don't know, even like, what was it, mid-season, he hasn't really changed that much. I think he's still S tier. Still probably one of the best point tanks in the game. Really good self-sustain. You got self-sustain through loadout cards. Forge Fire is insanely good. It really is. It does too much damage. It's really hard to actually sit on the point when he's actually running Forge Fire because it constantly heals itself with like his loadout cards. If you stand by it, it's constantly getting healed and it's doing a shit ton of damage to whoever is on the point and trying to contest you, like the enemy tank or like whoever else is still trying on the point that's trying to actually go against you. So really solid. I think he's still one of the best point tanks in the game. You can even play him as an off tank. He does both of the things really well, and that's kind of what you want out of a tank. Really solid. He's going right to S tier. You're going to be seeing him in a lot of your games. You're going to be seeing prioritized and picked in a lot of your games. You got Bomb King. I'm going to put Bomb King at B tier. Not because he's bad, just because it's on console and you don't really see many good Bomb Kings. I say this every single tier list over like the past, like, I don't know, 5-6 patches now. If you can play an insane Bomb King on console, by all means go play him. You can do really well and even carry your ranked games. But I just don't see enough good Bomb Kings to the point where I can put him higher on console. I really can. He's great on PC. If this is a PC tier list, I'd probably put him at like S or SS or whatever. But console, he's a B tier. Not because he's bad, but just because people really don't know how to play him effective enough over a lot of the other damage champions in the game. Up next, we got Buck. Buck's going down to C tier. I don't think he's good. I really don't. Like, Buck really suffers. He really does. There's tanks being played right now that he just gets shit on by. He gets shit on by Atlas. You get shit on by stuff like Yagruth or Raum because you just can't do enough damage. They easily 1v1 you. You can't really dive backlines that freely right now because there's a lot of burst in the game. And there's one specific champion right now that's being played almost every single game that you have a really bad matchup versus. You guys probably know who it is. It's the lady with the white hair, as a little spoiler for this entire rest of this video. But the lady with the white hair, you have a really bad matchup into because you pretty much get deleted even before you can jump on top for and do your damage. Like, the problem with Buck is you have to get on top of somebody to do your damage. If you can't get right up on somebody to do your damage, you're useless. So, he can pub stomp. If you know what you're doing with Buck, you can pub stomp your lower to like mid-tier ranked games once in a while. But he kind of just drops off because there's a lot better options for flanks that don't have to sit and rely on being on someone the entire game right in their face to do all their damage. Oh boy, guys. Oh boy. Oh boy, man, this is probably the biggest change of the entire patch. I've been waiting to talk about Cassie for so long right now. I think this is probably the biggest change out of the entire patch. I'm putting Cassie at an S tier. This is probably the first time I've ever put Cassie at an S tier for console. The first time ever I've put her at an S tier for console. Let's talk about Cassie real quick. First of all, I'm going to put up some, I got some video footage. I'm going to put up a before and an after. If you guys do not know what she got buffed, her projectile size on her arrows got increased by 10%, and the projectile speed got increased by 5%. I'll put up some a before and after for you guys right now real quick so you guys can check it out. Hope maybe you guys can tell a difference. I'm not sure. I'll put those up for you guys right now.
That's 7 in a row. Double kill. First of much blood to spill today.
Apart from that, I don't know if you guys can tell a difference or not, but she does feel a lot better. She does feel a lot better. I think it's the point right now, if you have average aim with Cassie, you can play her. Before, you have to have really pinpoint accuracy. You have to have accuracy like an Androxus type accuracy or like stuff that requires a shit ton of like pinpoint aim to like really get her to work. Right now, I think if you have average or above accuracy, and you know what you're doing, and you have about that level of accuracy, you can make Cassie work. She's really, really solid right now, especially being played into a lot of the tanks. You have Raum being played. You have a lot of Yaggorath. Yaggorath is just seeing a huge spike in play because people are starting to learn how to play her, and people are getting a lot more confident in picking Yaggorath. You're seeing her a lot more in your ranked games now. She does really good into that. She does good into Raum. She does good into Khan. Inara, she does a shit ton of damage to. Barik, she does a shit ton of damage to with big game. You can run her as more of like a burst type DPS with exaction. And then you got her blast shot, which I think is her other talent. I forgot if that's the specific name, but whatever the one is that increases your damage on your blast shot by 100 something, 150 I think it is. Probably one of the only DPSs in the game as well that has 3 viable talents. All of her talents are good. There is no drawback to picking any of her talents. If you like one talent, you like using all of her talents, or like one over the other, there is no drawback of picking any talent you want with her. She has a talent for pretty much everything you want to do. You want to burst down squishies and play more of like a squishy type Slayer type DPS, you pick Exaction. If you want to have a little bit more burst, you pick her burst shot talent that increases your damage on your blast shot. If you want to be one that goes like a DPS that's dedicated to mainly going after the bulky tanks, like Yaggorath, Raum, Khan, for example, you pick big game and you do like 1,000 damage per arrow. I don't know, she's really good right now. If you guys have not played the new Cassie, I think right now is probably the best time Cassie has ever been on console with these buffs. I know there's going to be some PC players, probably in the comments and probably somewhere around this video, that are pissed because Cassie got buffed when she was already really, really good on PC. Those buffs weren't for PC, those were for console. Us console players love these buffs. I don't know about you guys, but I love being able to actually pick Cassie in ranked now. I really do. I feel like if I pick Cassie and just like, even like into like a random team, like I feel like I'm not throwing because I can actually land the majority of my shots now. It's a lot easier. You got a lot more wiggle room. You got a lot more leeway on your shots. The projectiles fly through the air a bit faster. I'm not sure if it's really enough to really notice. I'm not sure, but it just feels a lot better. There's a lot more wiggle room and a lot more leeway between her shots. You don't have to be as pinpoint accurate on stuff anymore. Like I said, if you have average or above average aim, you can play Cassie in your ranked games and not throw your matches, as long as you know how to play her and you know what your role is and you know what you're doing. I actually think I'm actually going to go on a limb too, and I think she's actually the best projectile champion in the game right now. Just for having 3 viable talents and just being able to do as much damage as she currently does. Even having the reveal, like the reveal is, people shit on her ultimate, they really do, but having Ziggs go up and having that reveal the entire game with the scout is really, really crucial, especially on your like final team fights and your point fights. It charges really fast, and the enemy team can't do anything versus you. Normally they try doing some wacky stuff like running into your back line, like 3 people would go to your back line, or like something like that or something. With the reveal and then being constantly revealed for like the first 10, 20 seconds of the point, something like that. Like your team can actually position on the enemy team, and it gives your team a huge advantage knowing what the enemy team is going to try doing. And they can't do what they wanted to do because they're revealed, and they'll get punished for running into your back line or trying to target somebody down at the start of a fight. Really, really underrated right now. Really looking forward to seeing the Cassies in ranked. If you guys love Cassie like me, I'm just hoping she gets a skin this next patch. I really do. Before the end of the year, I'm hoping Cassie gets a skin. Maybe they'll give her a holiday themed skin. Give her like a Santa type elf skin or something. I don't know. But another thing I really want is a Cassie skin. Like I said, last time Cassie got a skin was for the Battle Pass number 2 of August 2018. So there you go. It was Dragon Caller Cassie was the last skin she's gotten. Has not got a single skin since then. Hopefully they change that for this next patch and they gave her like a Christmas skin, or as rumored it's an aquatic type battle pass or event pass. Maybe they'll give her some type of like mermaid skin or something. I don't know. Just spitballing ideas, but probably the biggest change of the entire patch, if not one of the biggest changes. If you guys have not played Cassie, go play her. I know I've kind of talked about her a lot this patch, but this is probably the best she's ever been. best she's ever been on console right now, guys. If you like Cassie and you want to give her a try, right now is the time to play Cassie and give her a try in your ranked games. Insanely good. She is really good. Corvus. Apart from probably getting one of the sexiest skins in the game, no pun intended. No pun intended. I know there's a lot of people that think this skin's sexy. I don't know. At least for me, it looks like me after I'm working like 3 days in a row and I'm operating on like 3 hours of sleep. At least that's what it reminds me of. Like, that's how absolute dead I look. But Corvus got buffed this patch. He got some really major changes. His base damage on his officer's pistol got increased from 70 per pellet up to 74. They increased, I think there was some other stuff they did to him as well. They increased the for his dagger, like if you don't use it, you'll get a 1 second cooldown reduction if you don't teleport with your dagger. And I think they might have reduced the cooldown on it as well by 1 second or something. She got a couple of buffs, he really did. The only thing he did not get is any healing type buffs. That's kind of what he needs. Corvus needs healing buffs. That's what it comes down to. His healing really isn't on par with a lot of the other healers in the game right now. That's the problem. He kind of feels bad to play, especially at the beginning of the game. He kind of picks up towards the mid game, but then once people start getting cauterized 3, then you kind of feel like shit again because you're not really doing much heals. So I think he still can be good. He works a lot with more squishier type teams still, which is really solid. It kind of just depends on what you really pair him with. Even if he got a new skin this patch, so if you guys want to try him out, try the new Event Pass skin. Check him out. I don't know, play him in your ranked games. He's not bad by any means, but I don't know. I'm actually gonna put him at an A+ or an A. I think he's just average right now. Corvus is just kind of your definition of an average sport. I can't put him higher than an A. Next we got Dredge. Dredge, I don't know where I'd really put him. I really don't. I think I think at least on console, like he's still probably the best blaster in the game for console. Nothing's really changed with him. Nothing has really changed with Dredge since last patch. Just your same old Dredge. The only thing I wish he would probably get this next patch is some reworks to his talents. Rework Abyss Spike and bring back Freebooter. I think we should bring back, I think it was Freebooter, what it was. If you guys do not know the OG Freebooter, pretty much what it did is you can throw down your shortcuts and your allies could also travel through your shortcuts. So you can actually have like a teleportation thing on the map. You throw one down on the other side of the map and then throw one down by your spawn, and like your teammates could actually use your shortcut as well along with you. I don't know why they ever got rid of that talent. I thought that was actually a really cool talent and gave him some more utility as a damage champion and gave him a way to actually benefit his team even more. And I just wish they get rid of a Piss Spike or Hurl. Hurl is pretty much useless. It doesn't apply Cauterize. Like, why even use Hurl? And then if you're going to be sitting and spamming your harpoons the entire game, you're just neglecting your base weapon. You're just losing out on a bunch of damage anyways. I don't know. I think he got some of his cards actually nerfed this patch too. I think it was one of his cards that gave him self-sustain on his harpoon for hitting somebody got slightly nerfed. Didn't really do much to him. I mean, nobody runs Hurl anyways because it doesn't apply Cauterize. Because it's not considered a weapon attack. It's an ability attack. So it doesn't apply Cauterize. So I don't know. Either get rid of Hurl or get rid of Abyss Spike and bring back Freebooter for this next patch or for Season 5. We're getting to the point where we're like 1 or 2 patches away from Season 5. So we can kind of start speculating on stuff we want back for the new season and the new patch for the next year. Bring that back for him. I think that would be really something really cool for him. Apart from that, you get a shit's damage. Blaster buddy, Mr. Drogoz, going right to A tier. The reason why I'm not moving Drogoz higher, actually, I'm really arguing to actually move him to B tier. I'm not going to move him higher though. I think A tier, arguably almost B tier right now, is where Drogoz kind of sits. I don't know. Like, there's a reason why I'm not going to move him higher. Like I said, I talked about White Hair Lady at the beginning of this. There's a reason why I'm not putting him higher. I think I might have had him higher this last patch for the mid-season. He's just done nothing. Like, he's still really good on certain maps. He's great on Jaguar Falls. He's great versus teams that really have no hit scan or anything that to really deal with you, which is really rare on console. Usually you're going against a Victor. Usually you're going against a Lian, or you're going to be going against like a sniper or like something that's going to be running after you the entire game. An Androxus, a Koga, stuff that kind of just shits on you in the sky, and he's just a lot more difficult to play on console. But I think A tier. I'm being generous at putting him in an A tier. He does do pretty well under a lot of the tanks being played right now because they really can't do much to him. You got stuff like Yaghrith being played a lot, Inara, Barik, stuff that really can't touch him. You kind of just get a free damage and free ult off on. But like apart from that, there's a lot of stuff that just destroys him right now. Even like Cassie being played, which is really weird. Like Cassie, most of the time you even win matchups versus like Cassie wins matchups versus you unless you get a jump on her, just because she'd outdamage you and she has like she can dodge roll out of the way, juke and dive you, and then end up killing you that way because you just move so slow in the air. I don't know. Like for season 5, I think they need to give a look at Drogoz and like increase his movement in air. He moves so slow through the air. Can we please look at Overwatch and take some tips and some pointers from Pharah? Because Pharah feels like you're actually flying in the air. And then when I play Drogoz and I switch from Overwatch, playing Pharah and then switch over to this game and play Drogoz, I feel like I'm a lead brick floating in the air. Even when I'm playing Wormjets. It shouldn't feel that way. I think he needs more like air control or like something like quality of life changes with him being able to float in the air. Like being able to move faster in the air or something. I don't know. Something needs to be changed about him. Some quality of life changes this next patch for season 5 or even this next patch. Which actually got buffed this patch. Evie got buffed, y'all. I guess where I'm still going to put her. Still putting her at B tier. Like every other like 5 or 6 patches. Same thing as Bomb King. Same thing. Over the Moon got buffed slightly. I think it went up. I think it was 20%. They increased to 30% or something like that. All that really did is kind of bring her in and kind of rein her in more consistent with a lot of the other flanks in the game that have damage type of talents. Stuff like Andro, there's stuff like Lex that have damage talents. Like it kind of brought her more in line with those type of talents of a lot of the other flanks. And it does give her another thing to use. Like she has 3 viable talents. Her Wormhole's good. Snow Globe's good. And now Over the Moon is also really good, which has just a viable ability to actually be able to pick that now. So it gives you the reason to pick it. So she does have 3 viable talents. You can run her a multitude of ways. It just comes down to if you actually play her. And like I said, this is a console tier list. Every time I see an Evie in my ranked games, they usually feed. Fernando, if you guys don't know as well, Fernando got some changes from the PTS into the live patch. They actually nerfed him even more. His shield regeneration, I think, actually got increased. It was 1.25. They actually increased it, I think, up to 2.25 or something like that into the live patch. And then they did something else where before your shield actually starts regenning or like before you can hold it up again, they gave more of a delay there as well. So he got nerfed into the PTS and then nerfed again slightly into the live patch. I'm still putting Fernando at an S tier. I still am. He's so annoying to deal with still. He's not ban worthy. Fernando is not worth a ban right now. He is no longer worth a ban or a must pick in your ranked games. That is one thing you guys need to know. He's no longer worth a ban or a must pick. But he's still really good as a point tank. Especially in your early game. Like before people start stacking Wrecker, you just stand there and the majority of the time you don't really have people that can actually kill, like delete your shield anyways until like the 10-15 minute point in the game when people start getting Wrecker 1, 2. Still really good. He has one of the best ultimates in the game. Immortal's really good. Really, really good. Up next we got Furia. Putting Furia at an A+. I think Furia right now, I don't know, she's kind of fallen off. I don't think she's the greatest healer in the game right now. I really don't. I think she's probably A+ worthy. I actually think she's kind of worse with Solar Blessing right now. Solar Blessing, if you guys do not know, before they kind of nerfed the healing on it now, with you being able to stop it wherever you want to have it land on somebody. Before you had to, it was a skill shot, you had to land it on somebody. Now you click the button again and it stops wherever you want it to. But they also nerfed the healing. Before that, when it was a skill shot, even with Cauterize 3, you were not able to even like do anything to people that were standing in her Solar Blessing because it was just so much heals. Now, if there's people standing in her Solar Blessing with Cauterize 3 and that are being affected by Cauterize, you get no healing. That's one thing that I did not really take into consideration last patch, because I thought people were going to actually play around and not really know how to play into it, which people know how to play into it now. You aren't going to get away with these full health like heals anymore. Like, we just throw a beam on somebody, stop it on somebody, and they go right back up to full without taking anything from Cauterize and having Cauterize being applied to them. If you want to get the full value out of Solar Blessing, you need to have a coordinated team still, and you need to have them stay out of Cauterize long enough to get them up to full health. If you stay in Cauterize 3 for the entire duration of her Solar Blessing and her beam, you get no value out of it. And even then, it has... Like, they nerfed her loadout cards, and they reworked her loadout card to where if you actually hit a heal on somebody with a chair, or like hit her right click or whatever, her left click or whatever, her heal on somebody, you get actually a cooldown reduction on her beam. They reworked that, so she no longer has that card. The only other card she has to reset her Solar Blessing and her beam is Stoke the Fire, which allows you to land Wings of Wrath pellets onto somebody for damage. And each one you land on somebody gives you like CDR. That's the only thing she has to get her beam back again. It's just not consistent enough, at least when I've been playing. She's still really good. Cherish is really good. Exterminate is a throw pick. Never pick Exterminate in your ranked games. If you pick Exterminate, you deserve to be reported and you're just throwing. But Solar Blessing still can be really good. The only time you're going to pick it is if you have like a shield tank like Fernando that can stay out of Cauterize and then stand in the beam and get to full health. Something that has a shield and can stay out of Cauterize. Or something with a huge health bar, like a Yaggorath, like a Raum, or something of that nature that you can just land the beam onto them, and they're really easy to... They just stand in one place the majority of the game anyways, and they just get the most healing out of the beam. And that's kind of one of the main things that can keep them fully sustained out of like one or two other supports in the game that can maybe keep them topped off. But apart from that, I don't think she's really, top tier anymore. I really don't. I think she's A+ worthy. I just don't think she's one of the best healers in the game anymore. Healers. Holy man, has Grohk fallen off. Grohk has fallen off so goddamn much. He went from being one of the best healers in the game for an entire patch to getting slightly nerfed, and now he's at, probably one of the worst healers in the game again. Grohk is trash again. He is really bad. You can't keep his team fully sustained. Your damage numbers are okay, but the only way I think you really play him right now again is with Maelstrom. Yeah, as a second support or a DPS type hybrid off support or something like that versus certain teams with a lot of deployables or this shit you can bounce your shock pulse off of. If you play a solo healer Grohk, you're kind of throwing at this point. Every time I see a solo healer Grohk, the enemy team has no heals. He is really bad right now. They nerfed him, and I think they kind of over-nerfed him right now. I think they need to slightly revert some of the nerfs, or they need to buff him in some other places in his kit or something, because right now he's awful. Grover actually got Deep Roots reworked, so now it only cripples only roots one person, and then every bounce, it'll actually be a slow. Still going to S tier. Grover is still one of the best healers in the game. His healing numbers did not change. The only thing that changed was Deep Roots, and if anything, a slow is still really good. I wouldn't really say it's even a nerf. I think a slow that still bounces. It's not a root, but it's still, I think, a 30% slow after the first initial hit on your crippling throw when you're running Deep Roots. I think it's still really good. I wouldn't really even call it a nerf that much, if I'm being honest. He's still one of the best healers in the game. Has not really changed much from last patch. Just as a solo healer, don't play Deep Roots as a solo healer, please, for the love of God. Or play Ferocity. Play Rampant Blooming if you are a solo healer on your team. For the love of God, please play Rampant Blooming. Otherwise, you'll suffer for heals, and you're just going to get blamed for trolling. Please. You got Imani. I feel like Imani's kind of fallen off. If I'm being honest with you guys, I'm feeling like Imani's kind of fallen off. They buffed the shit out of her, and then they slowly kind of nerfed her, and now she's kind of this... I'd say she's A+. I think Imani right now is A+. Especially with Cassie right now. Cassie, I think, overall, if you want a more consistent projectile damage right now, I think Cassie is your go-to. She just has 3 viable talents, and she just brings so much more to a team as a DPS over Imani does. Don't get me wrong, you have Splitting Ice and you have Pyromania, which are still really good. A Monorift is garbage. It's really bad. It's pretty much one of the worst talents in the game. I don't know why they don't rework it. For the love of God, please rework Monorift. It's useless. You still have a Root. You still have insane amounts of burst. Your Infernal Cannon can still melt squishies. Like, she's still really good, but I just don't think she's on the tier of like a Cassie right now, with Cassie being buffed. And she's kind of fallen down a little bit from last patch, if I'm being completely honest. Inara. Inara's going to A tier. Just your average point tank. She does nothing. The problem with Inara right now is I feel like she just does nothing. Like, she's just there. She's one of those champions that you just plop right onto a point, and that's all she really does. She can test she just contest the objective. That's all she does. Her damage is trash. She has a cripple with she can actually cripple people. She has triple wall, which is usually a throw apart from Bright Marsh. Apart from that, like, she has CC immunity, she has built-in rejuvenate, but like, I know, she just does nothing. She just does one thing, and that's this is contest the point. She doesn't really bring anything else to a team unless you run cripple, or you happen to land a good ult, which takes like 30 years to charge anyways, because you barely do any damage. I don't know. I feel like she's average right now. She needs some type of buffs to put her in line with like a lot of the other tanks that do more damage, or just offer more to a team, because I feel like she keeps falling off every patch. I really don't know what it really is with her. I was going to, I really want to put her higher. I really want to put Io higher because I think she has so much potential, but I can't put her higher than A+. I mean, if you're looking at supports that just do a shit ton of heals, I think Io has some of the most consistent and probably some of the best healing numbers in the game. If you guys want a really, really good support that's really consistent, really easy to play, and has really good survivability if you know what you're doing, Io is really good. The Luna stun saves you so many times. If you set up Luna right, you can prevent flanks, you can prevent tanks diving you with a Luna stun. Usually if they get stunned out, they're usually dead if your team follows up on them and if your team has any type of a brain. The only thing about Io that I do not like is that her ultimate is pretty much useless. The only time you're going to be using it is to get somebody off of you if they're diving you, or if you can knock somebody off the point or knock somebody off the map with it. Apart from that, like, her ultimate is probably one of the worst support ultimates in the game, if not the worst support ultimate in the game. It is really bad. I think that's what they need to take a look at for Season 5. Let's look at her ult first, how we can improve her ult and make her ult better. I don't know if you increase the damage, if you increase the ult charge rate, I don't know. But I think that's one thing they need to look at for this next patch or for Season 5. And then Luna. Like I said, ever since they reworked Luna, where she can't contest the point, she kind of just feels useless. Having a stun on a 30-second cooldown, it just doesn't do enough. It comes in clutch when you need it most times. Luna sometimes is even the MVP of the game with how many times she'll probably save you from people diving you, or you just getting your ass kicked by somebody and getting dove most of the game and she'll save you. I don't know. I just wish she would do more than like a 30-second stun. That's the only thing I really wish they would do. But as for like healing numbers, like, she has some of the best healing numbers in the game. She can keep an entire team sustained by herself, no problem at all. Goddess Blessing, 15% DR, really good when you're healing somebody. You have the Luna heal talent, which also can be really good. You can use her as like a second off type support. You can throw that on like one side of the map. Heal somebody up, let them stand by Luna, get some heals while you heal everybody else. Sacrifice is garbage, but she has two really solid talents. The Luna heal talent, and then Goddess Blessing is still really good. Apart from that, I can't put her higher than A+, unfortunately. I really love Io. She's probably my favorite support in the game still, and probably my favorite support to play with how fun she is to play and how much I enjoy playing her. And probably one of my favorite characters in the game, too. I love Io as a character, but as do a lot of other people, but I just can't put her higher. I really can't. Most A tier, just the definition of your average support. He's better than last patch, but at the same time, like, he doesn't offer enough. Either you run Luminary and you get those extra burst heals, which you can keep a team fully sustained now. It's really difficult, but you can do it if you work hard enough as a solo healer with Luminary. Binary Star is garbage. I would never run it anymore. It used to be good, but now it's not good anymore. I feel like if you just run Binary Star, there's just so many better options. If you're going to run Binary Star, just pick something else. Pick something else if you plan on running Binary Star Jenos. And then Power Coliseum is good if you're like a second support and like a double support comp or something like that. But as a solo supporter, you just don't have enough heals if you pick Power Coliseum for those cripples. But it's good into like teams that have a lot of mobility and stuff like that, are just constantly flying around or hard to lock down. Then maybe you can consider like a Power Coliseum Jenos. But A tier. Gonna put him at an A tier. If you run solo healer Jenos, that you can keep a team sustained, but you're really gonna be working hard, even with Luminary. It helps you a lot better than last patch. He's better than last patch, healing wise, but it's not really as much as I really thought it was going to be. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be, and a lot of people are actually kind of disappointed as well. I still think he needs like a healing buff, slightly buff his tick heal, please. I think that's what he really needs. Here we go again, right up to S tier. Nothing has really changed from last patch. Still probably one of the best off tanks in the game. You can't really run him as a point tank. You can, if all the other point tanks are banned, you can maybe get away with it, but mainly as an off tank. Sometimes you can even ban him too. I would ban him on stuff like Jaguar Falls, ban him on Fish Market. There's a certain number of maps, even like Ascension Peak, like a certain number of maps where you just like you pick him and then he just throws people off the map the entire game, pretty much at any point in the game, because the map's all open on both sides. Or you just pick him and then he just gets a pick every time and tries throwing people off the map. So that's kind of the reason why you ban him there. Kind of ban him on those types of maps. There's other maps he can still be really good on. As long as you can land your all, that's pretty much guaranteed kill every single time you land it on somebody. Unless your team only has like one brain cell and can't follow up on your pick and kill whoever you're holding, then you're going to be getting value every single time. So I just wish they would bring back Firing Line. Get rid of Leon Shield or like Storm of Bullets and bring back Firing Line, please, for Season 5. That's all I really want. Kinessa A tier. Just your typical sniper. Like I said, only good on like 3 or 4 maps. You guys know the whole spiel. Same thing I've been saying for like the last, I don't know, 3, 4 patches. Still the best sniper in the game over Strix. And no, Octavia is not a sniper. Octavia is not a sniper for those people that keep telling me, trying to tell me that Octavia is a sniper. No, she's not. She's a marksman. That's not a sniper rifle. That's a marksman's rifle. But like, you compare her to Strix, which also got buffed this patch, and she's still the better sniper in the game. If you have to choose a sniper on one of her good maps, you pick Kinessa every time. Koga's going to A tier. Just the definition of a pub stomp champion. You pub stomp your ranked games in your mid-tier gold, like even your silver games. Silver all the way through gold, up to about mid-platinum is where he kind of starts falling off. Just your mid-tier pub stomp champion. If you want to get out of silver, if you want to get out of gold, or even rank up through platinum to an extent, you pick Koga. He's your pub stomper champion. That's the definition of a pub stomp champion. I'm not going to put him higher though, because once you get to a certain point, he really falls off. Apart from that, he is really good. He is good up until that point. Going to put him at an A tier though. He is average. He's not worth a ban. He's good on the majority of maps. He does have vertical mobility, because a lot of people do forget. Koga can climb walls, guys. You can climb walls with your passive. So he does have vertical mobility, which a lot of people do forget. So he does have that going for him. You can pick him on like almost any map and get away with him. I don't think there's really a specific map that's really bad for him, apart from like your really open type maps. Or if you're going against a lot of burst type characters, that's kind of one thing that does shut him down as well. Or like a lot of CC. Teams that have a shit ton of CC or like a lot of really heavy damage can shut him down. But apart from that, you do really well. Still going to put him at an A tier, though. Even on console, I think he's just your definition of like a pub stomper type champion right now, at least for the flanks. Lex. All right, here's our first SS, y'all. Lex needs to be nerfed again. They nerfed him last patch. They slightly nerfed the damage on Discovery, and it's still not enough. I cannot tell whether damage or Lex is a damage or a flank. Is Lex a damage champion or is Lex a flank champion? I can't tell with how much damage he does with Discovery still. You pretty much get 3-shotted with Discovery still, even with 25%. It being nerfed. And then they nerfed his self-sustain, his life rip card in his loadout. They nerfed that slightly as well. He's still insane. If you get jumped by a Lex, you're pretty much dead. He does so much damage. You have an ult that pretty much instantly executes anything that doesn't have a shield and anything that's below half health. You pretty much get a free kill on anything you want as long as you know how to use your ult. I don't know. He's insanely good. I think he's worth a ban right now. I really do. He just stomps your games. If you let him just run rampant in your matches, he just carries games. Here we go, y'all. Here we go. We got white-haired lady. The one I've been alluding to the entire patch, or the entire video. Going right up to SS. Lian is the best damage champion in the game right now, guys. For a majority of reasons. There's a multitude of reasons. I actually thought she was going to be worse because Haven got reworked into an item that reduces your blast damage and direct damage, which Lian both has. Her auto-aim abilities are blast damage, if you guys do not know. So I thought she would actually, by default, be worse with Haven being reworked into that type of item. And if anything, I think she's the best damage champion in the game right now, y'all. I think her problem is she just has too much reset in her loadout cards. I think what they're going to do, mark my words, guys, they're going to end up nerfing her in this next patch. There is no doubt that Lian is going to end up getting nerfed with how many people have been complaining about how broken she is and how steamrolly and how much carry potential, how frustrating she is to play against. One of the major reasons why she's good right now, too, is because Tyra got nerfed. Tyra's gotten nerfed now for, I think, maybe 3 patches. I think 2 patches for sure. She's gotten nerfed. So now people are kind of switching away from Tyra, and now their next best thing is Lian. And people are kind of rotating over to Lian, especially if you're console. And now they're picking up Lian and doing really well with her. I think the one thing they do nerf this next patch is going to be her CDR card. I think right now, if you get elimination or a kill, you get 50% cooldown reduction on all of your abilities. That card is going to be getting probably reduced and probably nerfed, if I had to guess. I think if they touch her in any other way, and if they nerf her too harshly, we're going to have a situation where they have Tiberius, and we're going to have a champion that's insanely good, and then they barely touch her, and then, in the case of Tiberius, make him really bad. So they have to be really careful on how they nerf her this next patch, otherwise she's going to turn into probably the best champion in the game, being down to like just your average or even like a bad champion, depending on how they nerf her, because you can't really touch much about her without having a lot of serious side effects, like serious consequences. She really doesn't do that much damage. You can't nerf her damage because she only does 400. You can't nerf her ammo because she already has 8, which really is not much anyways. You're still having to constantly reload. I mean, you can maybe nerf a few of her talents. Eminence, you can arguably say probably does need a nerf, but then you're going to have to buff presence again, or precision again, and you're going to have to buff alacrity again, just to make them on par, because they're still, either you buff those 2 talents or you nerf Eminence, because I think an Eminence is probably still our best talent. Just being able to look at somebody and then delete half their health bar, I don't think that's balanced really at all, but I don't know. Or they'll end up taking away her 50% ult refund on her ult for killing somebody. I can see them doing that as well. I would never do that. I would never do that and nerf that and take that away from Lian, because that's what makes her unique. No other champion in the game gives you your ult half refunded back for doing your job and getting a kill with it. That's one thing that makes Lian special. I would never remove that from her, but I would not put that past high-res, and some stupid person on the AOC recommending that to high-res for this next patch as a nerf. I would not put it past them, because we have some really stupid AOC members right now that just don't know what they're doing and just keep feeding bad balance changes to the devs. I don't know. There's a few I want to name. I'm not going to drop any names. You guys know who you are. I talked about it, I think, in a couple videos, even on multiple streams and stuff like that, about how bad the AOC is this season. I don't know. Kind of where she is right now. If you want a damage champion right now to ban, I think the one that you ban is Lian. That's the only damage champion in the game right now that I think is worth a ban. A+. Nothing with Maeve's really changed. I'm not going to talk about her really too much. If you can play Maeve, you can carry games. She is still really good. Maeve is probably one of the most underrated flanks in the game. I just can't move her higher. I really can't. Also with Lian being played, like she's really difficult to play into a good Lian. I'm telling you guys from experience and probably like from having Maeve be my most played champion and my highest level champion. She's really difficult to play into a Lian, especially a good Lian. It's almost impossible to dive her and close the distance without getting half your health pretty much deleted from you. And then even then, like diving her, getting her close enough and being able to get enough damage off to the point where either she kills you first or you barely live and then you'll get third partied and you'll end up dying anyways by somebody else because you have no health left. I would say with Maeve right now, I think Street Justice needs to be reworked. Rework Street Justice for this next patch or for Season 5. That's what I would do with her, at least balance-wise. Apart from that, I think she's in a good spot right now. She does really good poke damage. She does what you want out of a flank. I really love playing her. Like I said, she's probably my favorite character in the game to play still. From all these hours having into the game and playing for almost 4 years now, still my favorite character to play in the game. So, if you guys can play Maeve, by all means, you can still carry games. She's insanely good. Like I said, probably the most underrated flank in the game. I just can't put her up higher because you have White Hair Lady being played almost every game, Lex being played in a lot of your games, and you just kind of struggle against like Androxus, and there's a lot of tanks right now that kind of shut you down too. So, like stuff like Fernando, Khan, you're either shooting into a shield or they're doing a lot of damage back to you, and you kind of just have to poke. Makoa. Trash. B tier. Makoa's B tier. The only time you're ever going to be picking Makoa is if there's no tanks available. Just say like there's 6 bans now, right? Every side gets to ban 3 things. Say everybody bans out point tanks. You have Inara banned, you have Barik banned, you have Fernando banned, you have like Khan banned, and maybe like something else banned, like a Terminus or something banned. And there's really no tanks to choose. That's the only time you're going to be picking Makoa. Apart from that, he's pretty damn bad. That's why I'm putting him in a B tier, because he's below average. There's only one situation you pick him, and that's as an off tank with Pluck, as like an off tank, and you can do a shit ton of damage and kind of do your own thing. But as a point tank, he's pretty damn bad, and I think there's just no reason to really play him. There really ain't, unless everything else is banned. Damba. Really interesting Damba. Really interesting. I'm putting him at an A+. Some people are going to argue as an S. The reason why I'm not moving him higher than an A+ is because it is console. You're not going to be landing the majority of your heals because it is a hit scan heal. You got to aim it on somebody and actually click the button when you're on somebody with your targeter to actually heal them. But you can still get away with that when it's running Ripened Gourd, which does the majority of the work for you. So, I don't know. Some of you guys are going to argue Maldamba should be an S tier. I'm going to put him in an A+ tier just because it's console. But I can see where you guys do say that he is an S tier support right now. He is really, really good. If you guys can play Maldamba, even to like an average extent with like Ripened Gourd or anything of that nature, like by all means pick him up. He's really good. Insane healing numbers. You have a stun on your reload. You have a really good CC ult that usually follows up and confirms kills, or even turns an entire team fight or like a defense. Really solid support. Still one of the best supports in the game. And we're just going to skip right over Moji. I'm going to move Moji right down to where she rightfully belongs. Not going to talk about her at all. We're going to pretend like she just doesn't exist. Since they don't want to rework Moji and they don't want to give a shit about Moji, then I'm not going to give a shit about her either. And we're going to pretend like she doesn't even exist. Let's move on. Octavia. Actually, what do I even have? Oh, here's Octavia. Right here she is. If you guys believe it or not, too, Octavia got buffed this patch. They reverted some of the damage changes they actually took away from her. They nerfed the damage at her medium range slightly, like 2 patches ago, and then they nerfed some of her close range damage with her hip fire 2 patches ago. They reverted both of those nerfs. She's still really bad. I'm going to put her at an A tier because I wouldn't say she's a B tier champion. She is the definition of your average damage champion. She is the definition of an average champion. She brings nothing to a team that no other damage champion can do better or the same thing as her. The only thing she brings is a passive, and that's not really enough to justify picking her over a lot of the other DPS options right now, if I'm being completely honest. And she still struggles at close range. If you're getting dove the entire game, you're going to have a tough time. She just really struggles with stuff at close range. She has really good close, or like medium to like slightly long range damage in fights, but once it starts getting close and people start running her down or constantly diving her the entire time, especially tanks, you just do nothing and you struggle. She has a really tough time with that type of stuff. If they don't give a shit about Pip, why should we care about Pip? One of the worst supports in the game, if you run Catalyst as like a DPS, like hybrid support flank, you can maybe do something, I don't know. But the problem with Pip is it's just a walking head hitbox. Until they rework Pip's hitbox to reduce his head hitbox, I think he's forever going to be like a bottom of the barrel pick in this game. Seen, and just nobody ever plays it because Pip is so goddamn bad. Really is. It's really unfortunate too. That's how it is. I don't know. Like the best thing he has going for him is an alt, and even then, like there's just no reason to justify picking him just for an alt. Evil Mojo is one of the best alts in the game. It's just not worth picking him, even for that. It's a shame. I just wish we'd see some Pip buffs. He got nothing this patch, unfortunately. They just kind of forgot about him and threw him to the wayside for this patch. Season 5, he needs some major buffs. Even like buff his damage playstyle. If you're not going to buff him as a healer, just buff his Catalyst playstyle and allow us to play him as like a damage hybrid type support or something. I don't know. Just do something so we can at least try playing him and have a reason to play him. Because right now he's garbage. Don't pick Pip in your ranked games, please. You're borderline just throwing. Raum, A+ tier. Really annoying to play against if you're going against a team that doesn't have any hard CC or like a check, at least damage-wise, to shut you down. There's a lot of checks in the game that can shut you down, at least DPS-wise and CC-wise. I was talking about crippled Jenos earlier, even Jenos in general, just lifting him up and preventing him not to walk around. Skye can counter him. There's a lot of other stuff in the game that can counter him with either like a slow or like a stun or something. Khan grabs him, throws him around. Cassie's really good right now, probably the best Cassie's ever been, and you just get destroyed by Cassie. Probably the only champion in the game, apart from maybe Skye, arguably not even anymore. Before I would say Skye can maybe 1v1 you, but probably not anymore. Unless you run like Debilitate and like, I don't know, get lucky. I don't know. But like arguably the only champion in the game that can probably 1v1 you with big game. Because she's doing like 1100 damage to you with per arrow with big game. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm going to put him at an A+ because I do think he still is really good. Having to be able to spam your ult, you pretty much guarantee kills on squishy characters. Running into somebody's backline, dropping a huge ult, stunning and doing damage to like 3 people and following up on those kills. Huge plays. You can make huge plays with Raum. Overall, it's just really annoying to play against you, especially if you don't have anything to shut him down, if you have no CC, or if you just don't have the best of damage for him. Here we go. We got the newest champion in rank, the newest support to the game. Where am I going to put her, guys? Where am I going to put Ray? Am I going to put her Moji tier? No, I'm going to put her at A tier. She's average. Ray is average. She's a new champion, so you guys got to take into consideration as well that people really don't know how to play her that well because she's still really new, especially the people that really just only really play ranked. Believe it or not, there's people that only play ranked. They don't play casuals, they only play ranked. So you got the people that only play ranked now getting their hands on Ray as well. People really ain't at the highest level with her either. You kind of just have her being played and just people kind of just not really knowing what to do. She never got any buffs either. She got no buffs this patch. No healing buffs, no CDR buffs on her heal, nothing. I don't know. If you play like a squishier team with like 1 tank and 3 DPS as a solo support, you can keep that team sustained. But if you're playing a team with like 2 tanks and a team that needs a shit ton of heals, you just don't have enough healing. I'm sorry. I've tried it out multiple times already, and it just does not work in ranked. It really doesn't, especially if you're playing with randoms. It does not. You can't keep people grouped up enough to get a bounce heal, even running like extension. I don't know. She's A tier. I think she works better as like an off support that can just run around and follow one of your DPS around, or like give chip heals, or just use your ult to like fully heal a tank when you need it or something. I don't know. I think the best thing about her is her ult, because you can bring stuff back to life, like a Yaggoth that's like on 1 health about to die. Use an ult, heal up your Yaggoth, heal 5,000 health in the span of like 2 seconds, and bring your Yaggoth back to life and have her stay in the fight, which allows the enemy team to just waste all their resources on getting her killed, and she's back in the fight. So I don't know. I mean, giving ult charge to people as well. Anybody you're linked with also does get an ult, which is really cool. You get their ult a lot faster because they have that 0.5% ult charge every second if you're linked to somebody. That's also really good, but apart from that, like, there's nothing really special about her, at least right now, that would make her really justify picking her. Don't pick her as a first pick. Don't ban her. She's not worth a ban. She's not worth a first pick. If anything, I think the best thing right now for her is that on like a double support comp. She's not really the best solo healer, like I said, unless you have like a solo tank and more of a squishy like 3 DPS comp. C tier. I don't know. I'm not really going to talk about Ruckus because nothing with him has really changed. There is nothing with Ruckus that really changed. And if anything, he's worse this patch because Cassie is being played a lot more right now. And Cassie is insanely good into him. If anything, you pretty much get 3 or 4 shot by big game Cassie if you're playing against her. And that makes it even worse. So if anything, he's maybe even worse than last patch. I'm going to put him at a C tier because he is situational. You can do good with him once in a while. But apart from that, nothing with him has really changed at all. S tier. Not worth a ban anymore. She is not worth a ban, but she's still one of the best healers in the game. One of the only healers that just puts out so much raw healing, especially in ranked when you're just playing with your casuals that end up taking way too much damage. You need the heals. That's what she provides. She's still going to be really good. She did get nerfed this patch. I think they reduced the time between her tick heals slightly, or like the amount of healing extra she gets with Mortal Reach or something. I don't know. Whatever it was, you can't really feel it that much anyways. She's a little bit not as good as last patch. She did get brought back and reeled in a little bit this patch. She's not as overwhelming, at least from what I've been playing against and what I've been playing, but still S tier for sure. Just for the sheer amount of heals and then being able to land like a really good ult. If you can land a really good ult and catch like 2 or 3 people every time and get them really low or like even confirm kills on them, that's instant value with how fast she even charges up. Really survivable too. She has great survivability, which is something you really want out of a support. Really good survivability. Lian actually got a talent rework this patch. I think they reworked, what was it? I forgot. I think it was Desert Silence got reworked or something. I don't even know. Whatever got reworked, it did nothing to him. It was only for PC that really did anything. Console, he's still in the same boat, C tier. Arguably even D tier. Like, arguably even D tier. I don't know. I actually might even move him to D tier. Like, I don't know. He's on the cusp of like a C minus tier to like D tier, pretty much. I don't know. I would move him to D tier. I'm just going to put him at a C tier for this. I do think he's maybe C tier worthy, but there's going to be a lot of people that probably disagree with me. I just never have good Shalins in my ranked games. I really don't. And when I do, they do nothing but feed when I get a Shalin in my games. They do nothing but die the entire game, and they just do nothing. There's no reason to play a Shalin in ranked when you can just play something way easier and get way more value out of playing something way easier. This was a skin tier list. I put Skye at an SS because, my gosh, her brand new skin is probably one of the best skins in the game. I don't know about you guys, but at least for me, I love her new skin. Probably my favorite skin out of this entire patch. If this was a skin tier list, I put her at an SS. But right now, since she got the shit nerfed out of her this patch, she's going to A tier. You guys not know, they nerfed healing, or her smoke and dagger was 125 per second heal. It's nerfed down to 100, and now you're no longer invisible when you throw down your smoke bomb if you use healing vapors. So, or smoke and dagger it is. I don't know. I think the only reason you pick Skye now, like, don't get me wrong, you can still pub stomp. She's in the same boat as Koga. You can pub stomp your mid-tier ranked games. If you want to climb out of silver and gold, pick Skye because people just don't know how to play against her. But once you start getting to platinum, people are going to be picking Illuminate. She has no mobility. She just runs around. The only thing she can usually use is Nimble. She has no mobility. I know, she just has a lot less survivability. Like, what this nerf did to her, first it took away her invisibility during her smoke bomb, so she can't run around invisible by somebody and not get shot at and juke and dive shots in invisibility anymore. You don't have that, and now you have less healing. Even with Cauterize 3, it wasn't the best before it got nerfed. Now it's even worse. So if anything, she has even less survivability than she did last patch, and she's even easier to deal with. Not worth a ban, not really worth a first pick unless you're picking her into like a specific team. She's good into the really bulky tanks with Debilitate. I think that's the only way you really run her now. There's no reason to really run Smoke and Dagger anymore. It's just not worth running. It really ain't. They nerfed it to the point where it's not even worth picking anymore. The only talent on here you run is Debilitate, just for the pure damage. You pick her into teams that have really bulky tanks, like a Yaggoth, like a Raum, like a Khan, like a Fernando, stuff that you can just toss a bunch of damage into, charge your ult, and just hope to get picks with your ult, or just pick stuff off and go after the tanks, or just like follow your support around or follow somebody around and help them. I don't know. But A tier. Got buffed. Doo-doo. Doo-doo. I actually think Shalin's even better than Strix. I really do. I really do. I think Shalin is actually better than Strix. He got buffed this patch to where his pistol has less recoil. I think it's 12% less recoil on X and Y axis for the recoil. And then they made his pistol automatic. I'm sorry, but it's going to take a lot more than those little buffs and little changes to actually make Strix good. How about we revert his time between shots? Instead of, what is it, like a 1.5 second delay between scoping in and scoping out between shots, why don't we have it back to what it was originally, which was instantly. You scope in, you scope out, like in the matter of, like, what was it, like 0.5 of a second or whatever it was. How about we revert that nerf they gave him like 5 or 6 patches ago before he got killed? Only time you're going to be picking Strix is if he's on one of his good maps, like Fish Market, Frog Isle, any of those type maps, maybe even like a Timber Mill once in a while. Even then, it's kind of sketchy. And if Kinessa's banned. If Kinessa is picked or banned, that's the only time you're going to be looking at Strix. Apart from that, and even on his good maps, that's it's good. Only on his good maps, if Kinessa is picked or banned, on his good maps, you'll be looking at Strix. Apart from that, there's no reason to pick him at all. Talus is going to A tier. Right in the boat with all the other pub stomp champions, but the difference with Talus is it's either you do shit and you carry a game, or you do nothing. I think he's one of the most hit or miss champions in the game, at least like flank wise. Either you have a Talus that just carries an entire game, or you just have a Talus that sits and feeds his ass off the entire time, and just wastes an entire draft pick on a worthless pick, when he could have been playing anything else and probably doing better with anything else. You can carry your silver and gold games with Talus, but once you hit Platinum 5, he falls off immensely, and you just hit a brick wall. Same with Skye, kind of the same boat with Skye. I don't know. Slightly got nerfed, you're still going to be banning him. Just insanely annoying to play against. He is so annoying to play against because people don't know how to play against him, and he just does whatever he wants. He runs roughshod and he does whatever he wants. He got slightly nerfed this patch. I forgot what it was, but he got a slight nerf. Still ban worthy. You're still going to be banning Terminus the majority of your games, and you're going to be seeing Terminus banned in a lot of your matches. Tiberius, man, how the mighty have fallen. How the mighty have fallen. A tier. You know, there was a point where Tiberius was actually one of the best projectile champions in the game, if not the best projectile, like right after he got released. Like the patch after he got released and he got put into ranked, I think he was one of the best projectiles in the game. They slightly nerfed him like a patch or two ago, and he's never been the same. He feels like shit to play. I'm not saying he's absolutely useless. You can still carry games once in a while, but I don't know. There's just better options. I would not pick Tiberius over like a Cassie or even like an Imani right now. There's just no reason to really pick him. You lose so many 1v1s now that you used to win after he got nerfed. There was a lot of 1v1s like against Talus, for example, against Skye, for example. Now you kind of lose those 1v1s because he got nerfed. Well, I guess not Skye anymore because she also got nerfed, so you're kind of on an even playing field now with Skye. But like for Talus, for example, there's a few other things I'm not thinking of, but there's a few other matchups like 1v1s that you would normally win, but you can no longer win now after the nerf because you got your health, your healing card nerfed slightly, and you got your combat trance nerfed slightly, and it just kind of killed him. And he got really no buffs anywhere else in his kit to his ult or to any of his other abilities, apart from Crouching Tigron, which is a useless talent that got buffed. That really helped him. I don't know. Just your most average projectile champion in the game. You're not really going to be winning games with Tiberius unless you absolutely carry or you have like a really good matchup. I don't know. He's just kind of there right now. He needs some type of buffs for Season 5 or the next patch because he's kind of fallen off these last couple patches ever since he's gotten nerfed. Torvald's D tier. I'm not even going to talk about him. Where's that Torvald rework? I'm still waiting for it because he's fucking god-awful. Trash. I'm not even going to talk about him. He's not worth my time. We got Tyra. Tyra got nerfed again. Still S tier. Tyra is still S tier. She's a hit scan on console that's insanely easy to play and just gets a lot of value just out of playing her because she's, like I said, really easy to play. Really straightforward. She has an okay ult. Just being able to just mow people down during your ult, really solid. Burn Monster is still insanely good. They made some changes to her after the PTS into the live patch too. I think they actually nerfed some of the damage on her nades with Mercy Kill. But if you're not running Mercy Kill, I think the damage got reverted back up to 700. But like the DPS or the DR cards are still the same. Those didn't get changed into the live patch. Those are still nerfed. So you don't have to worry about DR Tyra anymore because that's gone. The only thing you really have to worry about with Tyra now is just being melted down with a burn monster and being able to stuck in a pile of fire the entire game. But I don't know. She's kind of fallen off these last couple patches. Last patch she got nerfed. You kind of see kind of a little bit less Tyra being played, and now you're gonna see a little bit less of her. She's not worth a ban, but she's still insanely good. You're still gonna want to be prioritizing her because she's still really easy to play. And you're still going to be putting in a lot of work with her, but especially versus a lot of the tanks too. Burn Monsters is so good. If she did not have Burn Monster, I don't know where I'd put her. That's one of the reasons why she's still so high on this list, because Burn Monsters is so incredibly good. Moving on. Got Vatu. Got nerfed. Enveloping Shadows got nerfed this patch. I'm putting Vatu at an A+. There you go. Not really going to talk about him very much because nothing with him has really changed. He got nerfed slightly. He still feels pretty much the same. A 2% cooldown reduction on Enveloping Shadows really ain't enough to really neuter the guy because he's still really good. If you know what you're doing, you can carry games with Vatu. Hyper mobility, insane amounts of damage if you can just run up and get up on somebody. Really difficult to lock down unless the entire team has a lot of CC, or they just have a lot of stuff that kind of just can try to go after you, or like a lot of heavy damage. Like the main thing that actually checks them though is like a Lex and like a Lian too. So I don't know, if you're playing into a Lian, you might have a hard time. But apart from that, I think he is an A+ worthy flank right now. People are starting to learn how to play him too. He's been in the game now for like 3 months. People are starting to learn how to play Vatu, and you're seeing a lot more better Vatus in your ranked games. Slowly but surely, give it a patch or two. I think we'll see a lot more Vatu, and it'll probably get to the point where he actually ends up needing to get nerfed. Probably even more so, because I do think he has a lot of hidden potential. Victor. Going right to S tier. Same thing as last patch. I'm not going to talk about him very much. Nothing with him has really changed. He's still really good. Just your most consistent DPS in the game. Everybody knows how to play him. Really straightforward. He just does his job perfectly. I wouldn't even really change nothing with him, really. I really wouldn't. I think he's perfectly balanced right now. Probably the most balanced he's ever been. Vivian. Doo-doo, trash tier, D tier. Probably the worst she's ever been. She's garbage. Vivian is fucking trash. If you pick Vivian in your ranked games, you're throwing. She needs to be reworked for Season 5, or she needs to have some major buffs for next patch or for Season 5. Because she's awful. She got the shit nerfed out of her over the span of 3 or 4 patches, and she's never been the same. Every time I get one of my ranked games, they just feed away and they just do nothing. That's all Vivians do now, is they just feed away and they just do nothing, and they just wish you would have had something else over a Vivian on your team, because you would have did better with anything else over her. Vora. Moving Vora up to an A+. I think Vora's A+ worthy. I think she really is. I think she's really solid. Like I said, she's kind of the same thing as Vatu. She's still newer to the game compared to a lot of the other flanks when people are starting to know how to play her. You can argue maybe A tier too, but I'm gonna put her at an A+ tier for this list. Not much has really changed since last patch. Not much really at all. But she does do really good into a lot of tanks too, just because they have that instant execute. Getting a free kill on a tank right now is just really valuable. It really is. So, not really much has changed. I'm not going to talk about her very much because she's still this above average flank. If you can play her well, you know what you're doing, you can do really well with her. That's what it comes down to. Even though she got nerfed last patch, I still think she's really solid. Willow. C tier. I think the one thing Willow needs is a skin so people actually start playing her again, because I don't even remember the last time I seen a Willow in my ranked games, let alone a Willow that actually did anything. I don't know. I don't think it's even worth me talking about her, because she just needs some major buffs for next patch or for Season 5. I don't know what they do with her. Maybe buff her damage. I don't know. I really don't know where they would even begin with Willow, because she's just so god-awfully bad, especially with Lian being played right now. If you play Lian into a Willow into a Lian right now, you're absolutely crazy, and you're actually throwing your games. That makes her even worse. Her best check right now is probably the best DPS in the game, which does not help at all. Really doesn't. Andro's still really good. You have Terminus still being really good. Lex being one of the best checks to her, still insanely good. A lot of her checks are also really good right now, which just doesn't help her in any case. I wouldn't really even touch her. I think she just needs to wait till Season 5, and they just need to buff the shit out of her, or give her a new skin. I would not mind a new Willow skin. I would not. Maybe it'll give people playing her and make people want to play her again. I don't know. We got Yaggorath. Yaggorath is going up to an A+ tier. I think she's above average. I think people are actually learning how to play her now. I've seen a lot of solid Yaggoraths in my ranked games over the last couple weeks. People are starting to learn how to play her now. They're starting to learn how to actually build her and put her into specific teams. You do need a shit ton of healing for Yaggorath. If you pick a solo healer Jenos, or a solo healer Ray, or a solo healer something else that can barely keep up, Corvus, whatever, that doesn't really have the most heals and can't keep her fully sustained the entire game, you're going to be struggling. You need to pair with a Furia. You need to pair with an Io, a Maldamba would work pretty good, a Seris. You got to prioritize good healers with her. But apart from that, she does really well. You can land your ult to get a free kill with your ult every time. Really annoying to go against, especially if just rolling around, disrupting backlines the entire game, rolling in the backline, setting up, doing a shit ton of damage, and then when you get around to half health, rolling back out, getting a heal, going back into the backline again, being really annoying, rolling out, back out, just doing whatever you want the entire game. It's really annoying to play against. I mean, she could be a little bit worse this patch too, because Cassie is really good. Cassie's just getting played into her a lot more, and that's one reason I'm picking Cassie, is if I see Yaggorath on the enemy team, I'm playing Cassie for sure. But even then, if they don't have something that can really deal with her, like a Skye, a debilitated Skye, Burn Monster Tyra, big game Cassie, and they don't really have the best of DPS that actually do a shit ton of damage to her or actually shut her down, then you can kind of just run roughshod over the entire game. Last but not least, we got Ying S tier. Ying's going to S tier. Still really consistent. Probably one of the best healers in the game still. Life Exchange is still really good. Really good ult. Probably one of the best support ults in the game, apart from like a Furia ult and maybe like a Grover ult. Still really solid. Nothing with her has really changed since last patch. If you want a really solid healer, I think Ying is definitely what you need to look at right now. Good on almost every map. She's just really consistent, does her job really well. Just don't play damaging as a solo healer, for the love of gosh. Otherwise, you're going to get reported and probably like mass spammed and like for throwing your match and just get probably banned or suspended that way. Just don't throw your games with like damaging or like renaissancing, please. For the love of Christ, please don't. As a solo support. If you're a double support, then by all means play whatever you want. If you have a dedicated support, but as a solo support, please don't play damaging. Last but not least, we got Xin going to S tier. Still one of the best flanks in the game. Nothing with him has really changed from last patch. Still really good. Great survivability, great damage. He's probably going to be getting some changes for Season 5. They did want to rework one of his talents and some of his loadout cards, at least what I heard, for Season 5. So expect some changes to him probably in like 1 or 2 patches. So if you guys like playing Xin right now, play him before he probably gets nerfed or changed. Still really good. Nothing with him has really changed over the last couple patches at least. And there you have it, guys. The Trickshot tier list. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. The entire tier list. If there's something I did not discuss, if there's something you do not agree with, or I did not talk about, or you guys want more explanation on, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a comment. I would love to hear you guys' input, and I read all your guys' comments, and I do respond to the majority of the comments anyways. So I would love to see you guys down there discussing. It's always really fun to see that. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, share the video. Like I said, I stream Paladins at least 4, sometimes 5 times a week, along with some other games, Apex, Smite. So if you guys do not want to miss my live streams, feel free to stop by. Would love to see you guys stopping by the live stream and talking to you guys on live stream. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Like I said, get this video to 25 likes in the first 2 days this video is out, and I will be doing another tier list for the next patch, 100%. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thanks for stopping by, and like I said, I probably will have timestamps in the description down below, so look for those. Peace out, guys, and thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed.